Alright, we're gonna get started in about maybe 2, 3 minutes. I'm just still setting some more stuff up. Hello to everyone who's already joined in the stream. Gonna get started in a little bit. Okay, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another live stream. I know I haven't done one of these in a long time. Um, but today we're doing a live stream to celebrate achieving 2,000 subscribers. Uh, I really appreciate all of you who have hit the subscribe button on the videos and joined the channel as a subscriber. I really do appreciate it. Uh, Surprising that we started this year and I had 200 subscribers, and now just getting into August, 2,000. So it's a really great achievement and accomplishment. I really appreciate all of you. So today we're going to be doing a appreciation stream. And I'm going to be letting all of you choose the routes that I operate on today. In the community post yesterday, all of you chose, well, most of you chose Southeastern High Speed, so we're going to be starting with that. Um, so let's get started. JM Sims and Reactions, I see you. Ozzy Dog, we starting now. Life is a Pleb, hello. Gabriel Patcher, hello. So let's get started now. I did see a comment talking about the 465, so we're going to do a short service in the 465. I think I was here since 200, so your channel on the TSW sub. Yeah, I used to promote a lot on the TSW subreddit and the forums when I was a smaller creator. I still do promote some of my content on there, but a little less than before. So we're gonna do a London Bridge to Ramsgate service. I believe we're driving all the way to Faversham with this service. Straight off the bat, thoughts on Boston to Providence? I think it looks like a nice route. I've seen both of the preview streams. I'm gonna be picking up the route as soon as it releases. I do like how it looks though. I'm not really too fond of Amtrak. I'm not a big fan of Amtrak, but I do like how the route looks, and I'm definitely gonna get it as soon as it releases. I like that you can hear more track noise than a lot of the other routes in the game. Like this one, for example, you barely hear any track noise or running noise at that, when operating. However, in the stream, I did hear a lot of track noise coming from the MBTA coaches and the Amtrak trains. I see you here, Golden Ticket. Thanks for joining. Coming to help moderate. So we're operating a Class 465 from uh, Gravesend to Faversham. I believe we're calling at all stations. In real life, it would run all the way to Ramsgate. Unfortunately, they haven't modeled that far, though. So let's get started. Haven't operated one of these in a little while, so let's see if I still remember. What routes today? Anything you guys choose, honestly. After this, well, first we're starting with Southeastern High Speed to 465 to Faversham. But after this one, I'll let you guys choose the next route, whether it be Cathcart Circle, LIRR, or anything else. Do Hamburg to Lubeck next. Could definitely do that. Could operate the 112 or the Doppelstockwagen. You're gonna buy Boston to Providence day one? Definitely. I like how the route looks. I'm definitely gonna cover it day one. Probably my live stream it the first day. The 101. I haven't actually done a 101 service on Hamburg to Lubeck yet. That seems like a good idea. I did operate the 101 a couple days ago without any PZB fails for once, so could definitely do that. What's up, Kronos? Haven't seen you join one of the streams in a while. Train sounds are on point with Boston to Providence. I definitely see that. I like how the ACS 64 sounds now. The sound, it's starting to hit now with TSW. The DTG have definitely improved with the sound recording and sounds in general throughout the whole game. We've seen this with this train right here, the 465, Cathcart Circle with the 314, and now Boston to Providence with the ACS 64 and the F40. And the horns really do sound good. They're extremely loud. like a US local should be. Congrats on 2,000 subs. Thank you. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate all the support from everyone who has subscribed to the channel. The CTC3 cars are very nicely recorded. I wasn't able to actually hear those in the preview stream. It sounded extremely quiet. I'm not sure if because I do remember something was going on with the sounds and stuff. Did you get a new mic because it sounds quiet? I'm using the mic on my headset today since my other microphone that I usually use for regular videos, let's just say I was too lazy to hook it up, is extremely far away and hidden under a whole bunch of cables. So what's up with the London to Brighton route? I'm not sure. They haven't released much information on it. They did say the timetable is going to be one of the biggest timetables they've ever created for TSW, and I'm really excited for that, but we haven't really gotten much information on it. London to Brighton is definitely the route I'm looking forward to the most as a part of the whole rush hour package, but we just haven't gotten too much information on it for me to really judge how the route's going to be right now. When he was going to use the cab car, the sound broke. Yeah, I noticed that. It's disappointing because that was the one I was looking forward to seeing the most, the cab car, how that operated, but unfortunately that didn't work out. I'd like to see the ICE one. The 401 would definitely be nice in the game. I would love to see it on the Munich to Augsburg route. I heard DTG is getting more licenses for routes. Yeah, and that's a good thing because I do want to see more of a variety in types of routes they're creating for the game. And for once I didn't overrun a station. Look at that. And we're not stopping here. Wow. Let's not talk about that. Hopefully they get MTA licenses soon. I think they already do have MTA license. Well, they have the Long Island Railroad license and the Metro North license for TS Classic. I'm not sure if that includes the New York City subway license. I hope it does. Actually, let me lower the game volume a little bit. I feel like it's drowning out my voice. But hopefully they do get the New York City Transit license. I would love to see some. I didn't set up the headlights well. I would love to see some of those routes in the game. Wow. Alright. Need cab lights now. There we go. I'm not used to driving this train, as you can see. US diesel trains are loud when they pass by, even P32s. Yeah, I noticed that. The other day, I went to go get footage for a video on my second channel, Mystic Transit. One of my least used stations videos for 138th Street Grand Concourse. And as I was walking to the station, a P32 passed by above on the Metro North tracks, and it was extremely loud. Those trains are nice. I wonder if they're gonna fix the Munich route on consoles. The route isn't broken. It's just that the layers from the other routes aren't appearing on the older consoles. And honestly, I don't see the layers ever coming to the PS4 and Xbox One. They did say they're able to add layers in on the PS5 and the Xbox Series X. They're still working on the Xbox Series S. But I don't see it coming to the older consoles. Hopefully we get much longer high-speed routes for the future. Oh, hopefully. I would love to see Cologne to Frankfurt. I believe that's 200 kilometers or something like that. I'd love to see longer high-speed routes. Because currently, I'm a type of person who likes to go to the end of the line, switch cabs, and then come back. You're not able to do that on any of the high speed routes. Maybe TGV and Munich to Augsburg when you finally reach Munich, or I believe it's uh, Avignon. I'm not completely sure about that, but I would love to have a full high speed route where you're able to go to the terminal station, switch cabs, and come all the way back to the other terminal. I have a feeling the first NYC subway line is going to be the 4 for some reason. I think it's either the 7 or the L. Those are two isolated lines. I know I'm overspeeding right now. Those are two isolated lines that, again, well, they're isolated. They will be easier to build. They have less stations than a lot of the other lines, and they're still semi-interesting. With the L, you don't have to make it where it has CBTC and ATO like right now. You could make it in maybe the early 2000s when they still ran R42s or some of the older rolling stock to make it more interesting. With the 7, that's going to be interesting no matter what time period you make it in. It has the express and local service pattern. The R188s are a great train, period, and I think it would be great to drive in a game. Um, so I hope it's the 7. I hope the 7 is the first route, and then they move to maybe some other lines like the 7th Avenue line, the 1, 2, and 3, or the Lexington Avenue line with the 4, 5, and 6. Because I would love to see the 6 line in the game. I would love to drive the 62As on it. If they ever make a TSW3, they should do Washington with Mark. That could be a nice route. From maybe DC to Baltimore with a couple of Amtrak services. That would be nice. I made a suggestion for that actually. P32 sounds similar to the Class 37s. Really? Never knew that. You caught an M3 as well with perfect timing. Yeah, I wasn't expecting to catch the M3. Honestly, I was getting the footage for the entrances to the station, and as I turned around, I seen the M7A going by. I was about to turn off the video, and then I seen the M3 passing by, and I was like, oh, that's a perfect shot. Himsim Metro is supposed to come to console. Really? Oh, I would definitely get the game if it releases on console. Um, I used to play Himsim a lot. I'm not sure if that's the correct way to pronounce the name. I always said Himsim though. I used to play it a lot on my old Android phone. Used to download New York City routes for it. Used to operate the 6 line, the A line, all of that. If they bring that to consoles and maybe they include some US routes, and I would definitely get it. I would definitely get it. Make some videos on it. Definitely. Um, Same thing with World of Subways. If that ends up coming to console, oh, I, I would never put down that game. Hello, Kenzie. I'm sorry, I can't read the last part of your name. Watch it be the 42nd Street Shuttle. That would be a major disrespect to all of us. Majorly disrespectful. Nah. Now you got me thinking about that. I wouldn't be majorly upset because it's still a New York City subway route, and I would still probably never put that route down, even if it is a 3-minute ride back and forth. But that would be majorly disrespectful. I have a feeling Train Sim World LIRR will extend the Port Washington branch. I doubt it will ever happen. They've already talked about how extensions are extremely difficult for them to do. I don't see it coming, although I do want to make a suggestion for it, just in case it is possible in the near future. I definitely want to see them extend the Port Washington branch. It is a very important branch. They got the whole thing wrong. It doesn't run 6-car trains. That I remember reading a long list of what they got wrong about the Port Washington branch, and it's sad how much they got wrong. I would love for them to fix that, to give us the whole branch, and then maybe extend the main line to Ronkonkoma or well, past Hicksville, anywhere past Hicksville, honestly. Uh, I made an R42, R143, and R160L train suggestion on the forums. Oh, really? Um, Later on in the Discord server, in Hall of Mystics, definitely got a link that I'm not sure if I've seen that before. I do remember reading a couple of L train suggestions on the forums, and I'm going to be making my own L train suggestion relatively soon. I'm still going in order of the lines right now, and the next one is the G line. When all of you do pick that for the next suggestion, that is. Also made suggestions for the Harlem Line Metro North. That's actually one of my upcoming suggestions. Sneak peek. I am thinking about making a Harlem Line suggestion because I've already done Hudson, the New Haven, and honestly, the only other one that interests me is the Harlem Line. I only make suggestions for routes that interest me, not just routes in general. I like to. It's kind of like my own personal suggestion that I'm bringing out into the open world to see if other people agree with me for the suggestions. Have you heard of Virtual Railfan that has a bunch of cams for watching trains on YouTube? Nah, I've never heard of that before. How do you like the new R211s? Sorry if that was a whole bunch of wind. I have mixed feelings on the R211. Let me just Jesus, this mic. I have majorly mixed feelings on the R211. Um, First, I hate the route bullet. Period. I hate the route bullet. It's horrible. We're just gonna stop it at that. On the side of the train, I hate how small the windows are. We're gonna stop it at that. On the inside of the train, I really have no problem with that, except the displays on all of the NTTs. That breathing reminded me of Hurricane C. Sorry, apologies. On the inside of the train, I don't really have too many issues with it, except the LEDs on the roof. I don't know what to call those. I guess you would call them the PIS screens that all NTTs have, where it says the next stop is yada yada yada, the train line and all of that. Why? Why couldn't you just make it like the other NTTs? Why does it have a green hue over the actual color of the route bullet? It's like the vision for the train was amazing, perfect. When they had the mock-up in Hudson Yards, I went there, I seen the train in person. It was nice. Then when they show us pictures of the actual train and we see it in real life, it's like a huge disappointment. Well, maybe not a huge disappointment, but it's not what all of us was necessarily expecting, especially from Kawasaki, which has created a bunch of great trains for us in the past, like the R142, some of the R160s, the R62, I believe, the R68. We wasn't expecting that from Kawasaki. But the R211s, honestly, I would have to see them fully in person. Like, I would have to see them out on the rails operating perfectly in order for me to have a better judgment on them. But right now, just seeing them in videos and pictures, not a big fan of them. And I want to see them articulated cars, the ones with the open gangways in between the cars. New patch notes for next week's update is huge. Really? I haven't seen the patch notes. Haven't really been on the forums today. Um, Sup Soup Time, how you doing? I love the fact that the AI trains completely branch off to the wrong line after Hicksville. With LIRR, there are so many inaccuracies with that line, and you can see this with a lot of the old TSW routes, like GWR. What's another one? Rapid Transit, LRRR, Northeastern Corridor, the original one. Um, is there anything else? Maybe even Peninsula Corridor, even though that is a newer route than all of those, but still, there's a lot of inaccuracies with those. You can see DTG slowly pick up and how well they design and build routes throughout the years. And back then, when they made the routes, it wasn't too accurate. They forgot the skyline for, I believe it was Essen and Habstadt Rhein-Ruhr. They forgot the skyline for Hagen and Rhein-Ruhr Austin. There was a lot of stuff that they messed up in the past with a lot of routes. And LIRR, you basically could just show off LIRR, compare it to real life, and you will see how inaccurate it is. In maybe 30 seconds, as soon as you leave Penn Station. There's a lot of differences than to the game and to the real life, but we just gotta deal with them until they make another LIRR route, or they fully fix that route. really looking forward to the Brighton Main Line. I am too. I'm really excited for that route. I'm gonna be excited to operate the 387 and the new updated class 377 and the 377/1 units. Definitely excited for that route. More than the other two routes, but the other two routes, they still interest me a bit. Maybe not racing to Dresden, but we'll talk about that maybe a little later in the stream. The R211 looks like an upgraded R160. It looks like an R160 on crack. Honestly. Not the good kind, too. I'm really looking forward to NEC because I live in Boston, and about time to get something local to me. Yeah, Boston, they had a whole bunch of opportunities to create stuff in the Boston area, and it's sad that we're only getting to Boston right now with TSW, but at least we did at some point, and I'm happy to see the MBTA in the game. Even if it isn't my ideal MBTA route, I would love to see the subway system, maybe the orange or the blue line. But it's an MBTA route nonetheless, and I'm excited to see it in person, me actually playing it. With LIRR, I don't know how you could get it that wrong. Hey, a lot of they are a UK-based company, so we got to cut them some slack when it comes down to researching routes and all that. But honestly, some of the things that they got wrong is highly questionable. Like, you can look at Woodside right here. Woodside 61st Street, where it connects with the NYC Subway 7 line. They got the whole station wrong. They got the service pattern, some of the trains that run through the station, they got it wrong. They got how the 7 train platforms on the top look. Even if it isn't the main attraction for that station you're supposed to be focusing on LIRR, it is a main piece of the scenery, and it looks nothing like real life. A lot of things with some of the stations and all that, it's not ideal for an accurate route. If you can choose an NYC subway route, which lines would you want? I myself would like the 4, 5, 6 or the ACE. Oh, the 4, 5, and 6. The Lexington Avenue line will be my perfect New York City subway route. The Lexington Avenue line, the Flushing line, what else? Maybe the 7th Avenue line, but that's complicated, being that the 2 and the 5 connect with each other in the Bronx and Brooklyn. I'm not sure if they would want to connect those two routes in a certain way or whatever, or include AI 5 train services. I'm not sure how they would do all that, so I'm gonna leave the 7th Avenue line one out of that. But the Lexington Avenue line, the Flushing line, what else? And maybe the 6th Avenue line. Have you been, Luis Rodriguez? I've been good. Been really enjoying making the last few videos I've made for the channel and the next few upcoming videos. I'm working on the Metro Trains Melbourne suggestion, and later on today I'm supposed to be recording an in-depth analysis for the Class 314 on Cathcart Circle, which, if all goes to plan, it should come out tomorrow, although no promises, because it seems like nothing ever goes to plan. MBTA Stoughton Providence line is going to Wickford Junction on TSW rush hour. It's not going to Wickford Junction. It's going only to Providence. It's sad that it's not going to Wickford Junction, as that is the actual terminus for Providence line trains. But I'm not too upset with it. They gave us most of the route. It's not that much of a big deal to me. It's a bit sad how low our expectations are for DTG. We lose our minds when they get sound right occasionally. Yeah, it's sad, but I guess it's a learning process for them, and they have to understand that the community isn't just gonna accept what's the word? Half-baked projects. We have expectations for what we want to see out of a certain route, and what we expect just from DTG in general, without knowing their past of messing up certain routes or whatever. We expect a certain level of accuracy and a certain level of quality, and they are improving with that. We can see that with Cathcart Circle, with this route in particular. Well, this section of route, HS1 is still a big problem for me. And some of the trains they made, like this one, the ACS 64, the F40 3CAT or 3C, they're improving. They're definitely improving. But then they come out with a route like Hamburg to Lubeck, which, well, we know how Hamburg to Lubeck turned out. With the 456, it would be cool, and you could go through the abandoned City Hall station. I love that station. I've ridden through it on a couple of 6 trains, and it's pretty nice to see as it goes through the loop. I love that station. It's a shame that you can't really visit that station unless you purchase a Transit Museum membership, but it's still a pretty nice station. When the Class 387 comes out, I'm gonna take it on GWE in a scenario planner. I really wish they would add Great Western livery for the 387. It would be so nice to operate that to Hayes and Harlington. Just maybe shuttle services between Hayes and Harlington and Paddington. I would love to do it. That would actually get me back into playing GWE, because I haven't touched that route in a very long time. Honestly, I haven't touched that route since I put the 465 on it and the moving platforms thing started. Um, but that would definitely get me back into GWR. I'm thinking of making a suggestion that includes the Elizabeth line and the whole of the GWR, although I'm not completely sure about that. I want to wait until the Elizabeth line is fully completed until I start that project. I recently bought the 465 and I do enjoy the train, although when I play services with a 375 or 395, only seen one 4-car 465. I don't get why there is a lack of 465s when you do other services. I believe it's a 40% chance of seeing a 465. I see a lot of AR 465s when I do operate other trains. Well, I see a fair amount of them. I'm not gonna say a lot. I see basically the same amount of 375s that I would see. I see 465s. I don't pay attention to how many cars they have though, so I'm not really sure if I'm seeing 4 or 8 car sets. But I do see a couple of AI 465s when I operate other trains. What time does NEC release on the 19th? I assume midnight. That's when all of the TSW routes usually release. Midnight local time. So for EST, midnight. Every time zone, midnight. In my opinion, I prefer Division B trains over Division A trains. I just love the R160 fleet. Yeah, everyone has their own preference when it comes down to divisions in New York City subway. I prefer the A division because I grew up on the A division lines, the 1 and the 6 line. So those are my 2 favorite lines in the whole system. So I'm always going to have a certain type of love for the A division. But I have nothing against the B division. I do like their subway cars as well. I love the 160s, especially the R160Bs with the Simmons propulsion. Those trains sound real nice, but there's something about the A division. I like the smaller trains, especially the 142As and the 62As. Those are 2 of my favorite rolling stock in the system. When DTG say that they make highly authentic and realistic routes for TSW2, that's the expectation they put on themselves. Exactly. And I've mentioned it in a couple of my videos, when they say they make highly authentic recreations of routes, I call them out on it. It's a completely incorrect and inaccurate statement, because they don't. It's not completely accurate. We can see a whole bunch of inaccuracies with routes and stuff, and I understand it's impossible to get everything 100% correct because, well, they have a time limit for how long they can spend on a route or whatever, but we expect at least maybe 85% accuracy. We expect to see some of the things we would see in real life the same way we would see it in real life, not a dumbed down version for the simulation. We have high expectations for the game, and we should, because we gotta put it like this: we are rail fans. We expect to see the rails of the trains the same way we would in real life. I remember I used to hate the 160s. Maturing is realizing the 160s are good trains. Yeah, I never really used to like 160. I thought they was too loud, honestly, with their propulsion. But over the years, I started to like them a bit more. They started to grow on me. Especially the R143s definitely started to grow on me too. I never really liked the 143s. I always used to say they stole the 142A's propulsion. Just watched your S-Bahn Berlin Ringbahn suggestion. Oh, great. How did you like that suggestion? I took a lot of time to go research and create the script for that. I even asked someone, Anarchist Angel, on Reddit. I asked for a couple of photos of some of the stations because I wanted to make that suggestion real. I wanted to make that suggestion more in depth than a lot of other suggestions. I'm trying to do that with more of my suggestions in the future now. Make them more in depth than the past ones. Where in Providence and TSW2 where that route will go? The Providence MBTA station and Amtrak station. I believe that's just the name of the station, Providence. Hopefully we get to see AI Class 375s and 465s at London Victoria on the Brighton Main Line. I doubt they will add that, but I would love to see it just coming in and out of London Victoria. It would add a lot more to the route. It would make it more busier, and it would add a nice service variety that you would see if you're rail fanning at at Victoria. They should add the Class 707s to this, the Siemens, the Zero. Siemens, the Zero. I'm not sure if they can. I feel like it's the same issues they have with the Class 700s, with the 707s. As in the owner of those trains, or just Siemens altogether, won't give them the license to those trains. I'm not really too educated on their licensing issues with the 700s and the 707s, but I assume it's an issue with Siemens, since they do have the Thameslink license. I believe it was shown in the train simulator files that they are able to use Thameslink's logo. If you include the stop bond, you could also drive the RE1 with the 182 and Doppelstock wagon, the RE2 with the 445, the RE7 with the 442, and the RB14 with the 442 as well. Yeah, that the ring bond. There's a lot of services that you could operate. It's not just about the S-Bahn services. You have high speed, you have freight, and you have regional services, which would add a lot to the route. It would make it something similar to Munich and Augsburg, but instead of it being a route mostly focused on the high speed aspect, it's a route mostly focused on the commuter rail and S-Bahn aspect, which a lot of players have said they want more in the game. Routes that have some high speed on them, but include some commuter rail operations like this one, Munich to Augsburg. Clone to Aachen sort of does it, but I wouldn't really count the RE9 as much of a commuter rail service. But yeah, that route does include a lot of stuff. Did you ever watch the Super Subway Brothers? They made my childhood, basically. Never even heard of them, honestly. I'm from New York, so I know nothing about UK trains. I'm from New York as well, but for me, I've dedicated a lot of time to learning about the UK and their railways and stuff, because I just find it pretty interesting. Um, and a lot of people get surprised because I'm an American who knows a whole bunch about the UK's rail, a whole bunch about, there's a 395 coming towards us, a whole bunch about Germany's rail system, and honestly, it's just that they're interesting. Uh, I don't have a bias towards the U.S.'s rail or anywhere else. I just like trains in general. Like Matt says on a lot of the streams, I just like trains. That's it. Brighton Main Line at Clapham Junction, you would see the 444, 450, 455, and 458. Unfortunately, they don't have none of those trains in the game currently, so they wouldn't be able to add any AI services. Although, if they do make an SWR route in the future, I would love to see those trains get layered onto the Brighton Main Line just to add more services to Clapham Junction. Because I remember reading somewhere that Clapham Junction, a train enters Clapham Junction maybe every 30 seconds to a minute. That's really busy. I would love to see that in the game, and it would probably kill the last gen consoles, unfortunately, but I would still love to see that in the game. Maybe a dumbed down version of the SWR services near there. Did you do the TSW2 summer survey? Yeah, of course. As soon as the survey comes out, I go do that, because it's giving feedback on the game. Definitely gotta do that. Drive the FEX on the Ringbahn between Berlin Ostkreuz FES is the Airport Express. Yeah, I know that. I didn't mention it fully in the video because I did mention it in my original Berlin S-Bahn suggestion with the S3 and S9 lines. I mentioned the FEX. But that was one of the things that I sort of, but indirectly mentioned in the Ringbahn suggestion, mentioning the BR-147. Well, I'm British and I'm obsessed with New Jersey Transit and MBTA, so I think it's great that people check out trains from around the world. Yeah, that is great. It's nice to get out your own country's rail infrastructure, like get out and learning about the other countries. I found that to be really interesting. Like when I was researching for the Tokyo Metro suggestion, I found learning about JR East and the Tokyo Metro, the Topei Metro, the Topei subway, I think it was. I found learning about that highly interesting, and learning about their operations and how they do express and local services different to maybe New York and London with the Metropolitan line and the Piccadilly line and a lot of our trunk lines over here. I found it interesting. It's nice to learn about other countries' rail infrastructure and compare it to how your country's is. Like, I compared the US's rail infrastructure a lot to the UK's because I feel like if we just took some steps from what the UK would do, but what the UK did, we would have much better rail infrastructure across the whole country in terms of commuter rail, high-speed rail, and maybe not subway service, but subway service in certain cities does need to be improved. I don't like the idea of TSW having a subscription service, to be honest. Honestly, I'm fine if they do it or if they don't do it. It just depends on how much it costs, because I feel like that would be a way of them making the subscription service cost $29.99 a month, and it's saying, well, you're paying for a new. It's basically you're paying for a new route each month. When you have other subscription services like PlayStation Now, which offers 1,000 games for $9.99 a month, Xbox Game Pass, over 1,000 games for $9.99 a month. You have EA Plus or something like that, which EA Play, which gives you maybe 50 games for $4.99. I think it would just be an excuse for them to charge a wild price for you to get routes as soon as they come out. Probably the same at Broad Channel, least use station in the system. Oh, I knew that. I'm dreading when I get to that station because it's gonna require taking a long trip on the A line, and I am not ready for that. Honestly, the 3 line was already a bit tiring out going to Junior Street. The A line is gonna be something else. I'm just happy the 5 line it's in an area I'm familiar with, kind of, just like the 4 line for the last video. You know, extending route takes more time than creating routes. Yeah, I know extending routes takes much more time than creating routes because you have to worry about connecting the services up and then making it available for players who have one of the 2 routes or whatever. There's a lot of time that goes into that, but it could be very beneficial to extend certain routes because you're making a profit off of people getting one route and then getting the other route, and then it connects together. It's benefiting both sides. DTG gets more money, we get a longer route. You think they'll ever add Italian trains? I think they'll eventually get to Italy and the Italian trains. I'm not sure if it will be soon. They always say that they're trying to add everything in the world, although we all know they're never going to get to that. But Italy, I would love to see in the game. I'm not really too educated on Italy's railway system, but I would like to learn a bit with them including a game and a route, making a new route. Do you think we'll get the 66 and 166 layered onto the Prime main line? The 166. I think we'll definitely get the 66. The 166 though, not completely sure about that. They said they were adding the Reigate branch, I believe, and I believe that is the branch that includes the 166 services, or Red Hill. I'm not really sure which one it is. The 166, I say, has a higher possibility of getting added than the 375 and a 465. Although I have this strange feeling that they're gonna add maybe the 465, the 375, and the 166, but make it PC and next gen exclusive because the old consoles would have to deal with the large timetable in the beginning and then all of the other trains added onto it. Uh, if DTG can do extensions in TS21, which tend to have good route reviews, then perhaps they should extend routes in TSW2. Yeah, I do think they should extend some routes, but it seems like it's a very difficult process for them, especially with it being an Unreal Engine, and now they have to deal with consoles and how that system works. So while it would be nice to see longer routes, I've actually never came into Faversham on this track before. Um, while it would be nice to see them extend routes, I'm not sure if they're gonna do it anytime in the near future. Uh, if anything is in TS, then it will most likely be coming to the Train Sim World, as long as the relationship between the company and the licenses are still good. Yeah. Um, honestly, I believe it should be easier to just extend a license to also include train simulator stuff or TSW stuff. Um, as long as, like you said, as long as the relationship is still good, it should be as easy as asking if they could create another route in this game. Um, but it honestly depends on the company. Like we know that DB has Deutsche Bahn has really Silver. Wow. But Deutsche Bahn is willing to work with DCG to create routes that were previously in TS to bring them to TSW. We also seen Southeastern um, and other companies. But we definitely have to see in the future. That's a nice picture. But we definitely gonna have to see in the future where they go with bringing routes from Train Sim Classic to TSW. Now, what route would you like to see next? I seen a comment about Hamburg to Lubeck a little earlier in the stream. Um, but what route would y'all like to see me play? Here's your options. Hey, Amtrak to EMD, how you doing? Does MBTA run the whole Northeastern Corridor or no? Well, the route in game, the Northeastern Corridor runs alongside the MBTA the whole route, except on the Stoughton branch. To Stoughton, that's only the MBTA. But from Boston to Providence on the main line, it's MBTA and Amtrak. Raygate is the branch line after Red Hill. Red Hill is technically on the main line. Oh, never knew that. I think it should be easy for them to add the 166 onto the route. Anything LIRR, Lubeck, Hepsteck, Rhein-Ruhr. Let me scroll back up. Uh, what do you think of are the chances of a Dutch route before 2025? Oh, it's definitely possible. It's definitely possible. I've seen a whole bunch of suggestions for Dutch routes. It's definitely possible. But before 2025 though, I'd say it's definitely possible, yeah. Uh 101 on Hamburg. Let's see, we got two for Hamburg to Lubeck, one for El Adabor, one for Hamburg. Okay, I guess we'll do Hamburg to Lubeck, the 101. Let's see, explore. Where is the? Oh, here we go. All right. It's I don't want to deal with rain. Let's make it extremely no, maybe not extremely cloudy. Hmm. Matter of fact, why not drive in the fall? This should be a nice run. Some nice weather. All right, would you like to see from Hamburg to Lubeck or Lubeck to Hamburg? How about like outside Boston to Providence? Does the MBTA still run that? No. The Providence line is the only line that runs along the actual northeastern corridor, like the main line northeastern corridor from Boston South Station to Providence. After that, it's all Amtrak until it gets to, I believe, New Haven, where Metro North Railroad, MTA Metro North Railroad joins in with the New Haven line, and that goes all the way down to New Rochelle, maybe, and then it disconnects, and Amtrak just goes the whole way until it reaches New Jersey Transit. Lubeck to Hamburg. All right, Lubeck to Hamburg it is. Hope one day they can make the Heart of Wales line one day. I believe isn't that in Train Sim Classic? I believe I've seen it on the Steam store. On the 11th and 12th, Deutsche Bahn was striking. There was like 1/4 of trains operating. Oh, really? What was the strike for? Congrats on 2,000 subscribers. I really appreciate it. The same week that the Boston Sprinter route releases, school starts in Ohio. Oh, I feel bad. Oh man, school doesn't start over here until September. This time September actually. Um, that's sad. Hopefully you'll still be able to get the route though, and have enough time to play it. The workers won at the higher salary. Hmm, makes sense. Oh, let's see. Oh, an evening service. Alright, I operated this the other day. I'm definitely gonna need this now for PCB. Uh,
Störung. Störung.
yeah. I don't fully remember how to operate this, honestly. I believe the AFB is down here.
AFB. AFB.
Uh,
AFB.
Headlights, LZB, CFOOB, PCB. Sit back down.
Schließvorgang eingeleitet.
Uh, hmm. There we go. Okay. No, I don't want the window open. Alright. And we should be moving if we did everything correctly. Yep. Okay. Back to this. I played Peninsula Corridor in my school when that came out. Wow. Interesting. Interesting place to play that. Are we moving? We're not moving. What'd I do wrong? Ah. Alright, let's see if it moves now. What'd I do wrong? Train don't like me. This is embarrassing. Move. Train. Your sole purpose is to move. Thank you. Finally, we're moving. Only took 3,000 years. While DB was striking, there was also less S-Bahn trains because DB owns the S-Bahn. It owns the Berlin S-Bahn as well. I thought that was ran independently from DB. I think Boston to Providence will get extended to Wickford Junction in the future because it doesn't take much time and it's easier. I doubt it will ever happen. Honestly, it that's another maybe 20 to 25 miles that we'll have to add to the route. Uh, Plus, we've already discussed that extending routes is much more difficult than we would expect. So I doubt they would extend it to Wickford Junction. If they wanted it to go to Wickford Junction, they would have done so originally. Uh, so I would take that out of the equation. I would count that out of the equation. I think the thing that's most possibly going to happen with the Boston to Providence route is maybe them adding the Amtrak Acela. Who remembers Cane Creek? I mean, I remember it. Never played it. Didn't find it interesting, honestly. I was originally going to get it, but it seemed like Cane Creek wasn't too popular amongst the community. Well, the majority of the community, that is. So I was like, doesn't really make much sense to get it if I'm not really going to enjoy the route that much, and if all of you, or most of you, aren't going to enjoy the route much, seeing me operate it. Yeah, no. Have you seen the latest bus tweet about the destinations? Yes, I have, and had me dying earlier. I was over here like, wow, so we could put emojis on our bus route numbers. Yes. That's all I'm gonna say. Yes. um, that's definitely gonna be helpful with making maybe airport lines, having the little airport logo thing as a bus line. I think that's what will be helpful with. Otherwise, it's just a nice, funny feature. I'm definitely excited for Bus Sim 21. I'm more excited for the Bus Simulator by TML Studios. I hope it eventually comes to consoles because that would knock Bus Sim 21 out of order if it comes to consoles, honestly. Um, but I think I would honestly end up playing both, being that Bus Sim 21 does have some nice features like the company management feature. But the bus just has real life routes, and I think that's where it wins out on over Bus Sim 21, where it has real life routes, and the possibilities with that is extensive. They started with Berlin. They could move anywhere else. They could do some stuff in London with London's double-decker Alexander Dennis buses. They could do some stuff in other places in Germany. They could come to America, do some stuff in New York, Chicago, San Francisco. There's a lot of interesting things they could do with those. Let's see. On the S-Bahn Berlin, you can see the DB logo on the front. Well, then I just don't pay enough attention. I don't remember seeing the DB logo. My favorite train in rush hour is the MBTA cab car because the railroad in Ohio uses the same rolling stock as the MBTA. Oh, that's nice. I never knew that. I think I'm going to enjoy operating with the cab car. But the train I'm most looking forward to in rush hour is the 387. I've operated the 377 already, but I've heard there is many differences with the 387, and I would love to see how that is in the game. Only thing it's not on PS4 due to Sony. Ah, really? The bus, that simulator, it's not on PS4 because of Sony? Are you sure of that? I play a lot of Tram Sim. That does look like a very nice game. I want to try it out one day. I'm not really able to right now because I don't have a computer that's able to run Steam games really, and train. I tried that last week with World of Subways 4. Doesn't work on a Mac. But I would love to say to see and play Tram Sim. I would love to see it come to consoles at some point. Honestly, all simulators I just want to see on console. It will benefit a lot of console players greatly. And your driver can take on and off a mask. Yeah, that's a nice feature, but I kind of like the way DTG is doing it, kind of like excluding the mention of the pandemic with the game, because it's supposed to be something that gets you away of from thinking about what's going on in the world, on the real world. But I'll probably end up having my character wear the mask at all times now. I think the 387 on Bryan Mainline only goes 90 because that's the max for all trains on that route. Yeah, I believe it only goes 90 on the Bryan Mainline, but its max speed is 110. Max speed and line speed is very different when it comes down to certain trains. Like the 314 can go, I believe, 70, maybe 75 miles per hour, but the line speed on Cathcart Circle is only 50. The emojis destination is not on PS4 due to PS4 not having emojis. I think the PS4 actually does have emojis. I've seen it in PlayStation messages before, emojis, although that could have been sent from a mobile phone. But I'll have to check that later. I feel like we do have emojis. I'm wondering how they're going to do stopping services for Bryan Mainline.
Sifa.
They have, I remember seeing a service pattern diagram type thing, which shows the different services that the Bryan Mainline has in terms of Southern. They're not including Thameslink services. They've already said that. So we can count that out, right? We have the Southern services which run to East Croydon. We have the Southern services which run to Victoria. The services that stop at Gatwick. The services that stop at Red Hill, Reigate, and there has to be more than that. I hope they are including all Southern services, and eventually, if they are able to do Thameslink, maybe that too. But yeah, I'm interested in seeing how they get the services down with the Bryan Mainline. Out of all of the high, out of all of the high-speed trains in CSW2, which one is your favorite? It's either the ICE3, the BR403, or the Class 395. I never really liked the TGV. I think it's a cool train, but it doesn't really. I don't know. There's something about the TGV that I just don't like. The control seems a little too complicated for me. But the 395 and the ICE3 are my two favorites. Specifically the BR403, not the BR406. I don't really like the in-cab display for the 406. I'd love to get the 455 as a featured DLC for Bryan Mainline. I would as well. It would operate all of the London Metro services, and I would love to see that, honestly. Or maybe they could layer that onto the route in the future if they create another route that has the 455.
Sifa.
I played the New Jersey Transit route in TS21. It has a similar cab car. It's an MBTA cab car. Yeah, I believe they were maybe manufactured, but no, I believe they're both based off of the Comet 1 cars. That's why I think they look similar. I really do hope DTG fix the clipping on at certain stations on the Bakerloo Line. I believe they did say it was fixing platform clipping, but it would be very difficult being that a lot of the stations are on curves. and they would have to kind of fix the track layout and all that. And I doubt Adam and the Preserve Collection team would want to go through all of that trouble just to fix a couple of stations where the train clips through the platforms a bit. While DB was striking, the S1 on the Berlin S1 was extended to 1C and Potsdam hopping off, so that the line started in the state of Brandenburg, went through Berlin, and ended in the state of Brandenburg. Really interesting to change the service pattern like that. Can you do CSX next? Ah, you're trying to kill me. Very similar body shell as the Comet 1 and 2 and the Shoreliners on Metro North. Yeah. I did notice that the cars look very similar. When I seen I believe I mentioned this already. When I went to go get footage for another video on my other channel, I seen the Metro North and a P42 or P32, whichever the one it was, passed overhead, and it was carrying the Shoreliner Metro North cars. And I looked at it, I was like, those look very similar to the MBTA cars, just without the door in the center of them. The cab car has overhead power capabilities. Wow. I wonder if we could put that on some lines with overhead wires. Could have some very interesting stuff going in the scenario planner, maybe. I wish they could do more with the 465. In my opinion, it's the best work yet. It's definitely one of their best pieces. I wouldn't say it's their best thing, in my opinion, but I do hope they are able to add that to more routes in the future. Brian Mainline being a good start, layering it on as AI services. ADL has a partnership with BYD to make Alexander Dennis EVs. One with Scania, which makes a chassis for 2-axle. Was that a yellow? No, that was green. Volvo have one. I'm not really sure. I don't know about all those numbers. It's a lot of numbers for me. I'm not too educated when it comes down to buses. I know, honestly, my education when it comes down to buses stops in America, unfortunately. With rail, I'm educated with other countries, but when it comes down to buses, unfortunately, I haven't researched that much for other countries, so I'm not really sure about Alexander Dennis and BYD and all that. Shoreliners are more like the Comet 4s. I would definitely have to look at a picture of the Comet 4s and see how, and compare the Shoreliners to them. You can drive with the cab door open right next to you while driving. I mean, you can do that with this too. Which one of your suggested routes would you want to be in TSW2 the most? Let's see. It would definitely either be one of my London Underground suggestions or one of my New York City subway suggestions. And for New York City subway, I would say the 7 line. But for London Underground, I would say the Circle and Hammersmith and City line. In Berlin, there's a tram line, the M4, and it comes like every 4 minutes, which I like. Never heard of a tram line coming that frequent, honestly. Seems like they wouldn't need that frequent of service. I did notice that when I was researching for the 5 light rail routes, even in Calgary, their trams come every 6 minutes, and I feel like that was a little bit of too quick for a service pattern for trams when you have other services like buses and maybe commuter rail or subways. 31 miles out of Hamburg. Making good progress, honestly. Already maybe half the way there. Yeah, just about half of the way there. Really
Zugbeeinflussung.
making good progress. The 7 should be the easiest and busiest route they can make. Yeah. The 7 line, honestly, well, compared to the L, I'm not really sure which one would be easier. Honestly, I feel like the L might, no, the 7 would be easier, because with the L, they would have to model the 3 train going over at Livonia. But, the 7 line, it should be the easiest New York City subway line to add, and it would be the busiest. I believe 7 trains come between every 2 to 5 minutes during rush hours. And I noticed that I was going to get footage for the G at Court Square, and those 7 trains, when we were getting off of the 7 train at Court Square, just staying there for a couple minutes, it was coming mad frequently. Let's start lowering our speed.
Zugbeeinflussung.
The Express 2, yeah. The 7 train service pattern is very interesting with its express and local service. That changes depending on the peak. Like, I believe it goes express towards Manhattan between 8 in the morning and maybe 1 p.m. And then around like 1:30 to 2, it changes, and it's the Queensbound Express train. And seeing, maybe operating an express train, or no, actually operating a local train, right? Imagine operating a local train in TSW. You stop at a station, let's say 46th Street, right? And then an express train whizzes by you. That'd be a nice sight to see. UK buses can get technical. It could go down to chassis, gearbox, and engine. That makes a bus different to one with the same body style. Wow. It seems very complex with the buses from other countries and stuff. What era would you like the 7 line to be? One of 2 eras, or both. Current day with the R180A, CBTC, and automatic train operation, which, to everyone's, for information to everyone, ATO isn't normally used on the 7. I had to learn this from, what was that speed restriction for? Why did they bump it down to 90 and then immediately back up to 160? That made no sense. But the ATO isn't used much by the operators out here. Only maybe during rush hours it's used by the operators, but operators usually put it into, I believe, restricted manual, or restricted, it's a certain CBTC mode, which allows them to operate under the supervision of CBTC instead of making the train just run by the computer. What train stock was the 7? It's the R188. But the other time period would be 2016, with a combination of the R188 and R62A. That would be great. You would have 2 different types of rolling stock, and the variety, the service variety, and all that. It would definitely make the route real nice. Maybe they could even add the train of many colors in as a scenario, although that would require a lot of work for them. So I'm not sure if they would want to do that. It's ATO in any routes that are currently in TSW. And technically, the ICE uses ATO with LZB, where it operates on its own. You turn on AFB and LZB, and the ICE will automatically slow down, speed up, stop at red signals, all of that. But that's the only route we have some sort of ATO thing on.
Zugbeeinflussung.
Driving above the streets of NYC. Yeah, that's a big selling point of the 7 line and many other New York City subway lines, being elevated over the streets and all that, it's a big selling point. Again, a lot of speed restrictions and limit changes here. I'm surprised at how many services we're seeing from the 112s and the Doppelstock wagons. I'm surprised we're seeing so many on our journey. I would love to see the Victoria line come to TSW2. It's it's a line I've wanted to suggest for a long time. But I just feel like I'm gonna get so many comments saying it's automated though. You wouldn't operate it, the computer would. And it's tough dealing with the people who just mentioned that a certain line is automated and you wouldn't be able to do anything because you can turn automation off. A lot of people don't know that. You can turn it off. It may not be fully realistic, you can still turn it off. The Victoria line on Sundays is operated manually. I want to suggest it, but with it being fully underground, I'm not sure how well that will go with the community.
Sifa.
The New Jersey Transit cab car that I was talking about is the Aero 3i. Maybe with the 7 they could do the S from Times Square to Grand Central. You see, that's the logical decision, right? But then you got to think about all the corridors. Getting from the 7 train to the S train and actual Times Square and Grand Central, I've done it, difficult. With Grand Central, you have to go up like 2 flights of stairs, past the Lexington Avenue line, then come back down just to get to the shuttle platforms. With Times Square, we don't even talk about that. That's even more difficult. Times Square is such a complex station that the passageways between those 2 platforms, it could be done. I doubt DTG would want to go through that much work and then have the community yell at them for getting the passageways wrong. I would tell them to hold off on that. This video is brought to you by Gatorade. Would you drive trains for long distances for hours and hours and you need to hydrate? Gatorade is there for you. Not sponsored yet. You could suggest the Victoria line with the 67 stock. Unfortunately, the 67 is still operated automated. And honestly, more people like the 09 stock more. But could be in like a transitional period where the 09 and the 67 stock was active at the same time. That could be a nice route because the 67 stock is pretty similar to the 72 stock, so it would just require just a bit of remodeling, a bit of system tweaks and all that, and boom, you have the 67 stock there, and then you make a whole new train with the 09 stock, and it could be a nice route, honestly. Just have to explain to a lot of people that ATO can be turned off. Have you ever ridden on a Metro North train? I believe maybe twice or maybe 3 times up to Yonkers. Yonkers, and once I did the unnecessary journey from Grand Central to 125th Street. I call it unnecessary because, well, the 4 trains down the block. So, but let's see. At 0 clue, the 67 stock was automated. Yeah. I remember reading about it, and I was amazed that they was able to develop automated train technology that far in the past. Like, I would have thought that would have been more of a modern thing, but surprisingly, they was able to get it automated. Now, if only New York City could have done the same thing instead of having their trains catch on fire the first time they tried to make it automated. Was the 67 stock the first automatic train? In London, I believe so. And then came along the 09 stuff. No, I believe maybe the
SIFA.
95 or the 96 stock was the next, because I believe the Jubilee line is also operated automated. And then we have the subsurface line partial automation with CBTC.
Zugbeeinflussung.
That's not good, is it?
Störung.
That's not good.
Zwangsbremsung. Zwangsbremsung.
That's not good.
Zwangsbremsung. Zwangsbremsung.
Where's the e-brake?
Zwangsbremsung.
I don't like this.
Zwangsbremsung.
Oh, we're good.
Zwangsbremsung.
We're not good.
Zwangsbremsung.
We're good.
Zwangsbremsung. 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 Zwangsbremsung.
Now we have to figure out how to get out of this predicament.
Türfreigabe. 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 Zugbeeinflussung. Zugbeeinflussung. Zugbeeinflussung.
You done? Great. Wow, now you turn to green. See, it should be as easy as just you put the train back into forward and you move again. This train don't like me though. It's gonna take like a whole minute just to get started. Oh, I'll take that back. Never mind. I don't know when the 92 stock became ATO. I'm not sure either. The 95 and 96 stock were still manual until sometime in the 2000s. Wow, never knew that.
Zugbeeinflussung.
When did the
Zugbeeinflussung.
subsurface lines start with CBTC and partial ATO operation? Is the reason why the Bakerloo line was manually driven because the Victoria line was busier? Well, the Victoria line is the newer line. The Victoria line was created way after the Bakerloo line. The Victoria line, I believe, opened when the 67 stock was introduced in the system. So
SIFA.
it makes sense that the system was originally constructed with automatic train technology, and Bakerloo line wasn't, being that it was created, I believe, early 1900s. So that technology would have to be integrated way later down the line. So the Bakerloo line was originally and still is manually operated because the 72 stock can't be driven automatically. It would require so many modifications to the systems and the route as a whole, and I doubt TFL would want to go through that.
Zugbeeinflussung.
Also, you PCB.
Zugbeeinflussung.
Wow, still under restriction. Gatorade. Make sure you're energized with electrolytes before working those long hours. Thanks, strawberries. I think it came with the S stocks, which means 2010 on the Met, 2014 on the Circle, and Hammersmith City, and 2017 on the District. Well, I know that it's not fully automated though, but that is nice to know that the subsurface lines are just recently getting CBTC. I hear that the Metropolitan line though, on the section, the express section, that's manually driven. I like the switch between ATO and manual operation. I think that's cool. We now have our moderators promoting Gatorade. This is great. This is a Gatorade stream now. Go buy the blue Gatorade bottle, the best one. See, I recently went on a Hudson line with my friend to go to Terrytown from Grand Central and took a Hudson Link bus to go to the Palisades. Wow, interesting trip.
SIFA.
You
SIFA. 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 Zwangsbremsung. Zwangsbremsung.
Bro, what?
Zwangsbremsung.
Oh, that's why.
Zwangsbremsung. 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 Zwangsbremsung.
This
Zwangsbremsung.
is why I don't operate in German.
Zwangsbremsung.
Wow. As soon
Zwangsbremsung.
as I stop,
Zwangsbremsung.
this game don't like me.
Zwangsbremsung.
Matt's in chat. He's controlling these signals. They don't like me.
Türfreigabe. Türfreigabe. Zugbeeinflussung. Störung.
It's messed up. That's messed up. The 72 stock is the 67 stock, just with some technical differences. I believe it has some differences in the operator's cap too, like the way the operators drive or something like that, or the controls. You can move, train. Come on, you have the power. You can do it. There you go. Thank you, buddy. Xeno's finna get a Gatorade sponsor. Hopefully, that's the goal. I'd love the Jubilee line for TSW2, and then with the PED, also the area between Finchley Road and Wembley Park. You can see the S-Docks whizzing past. Yeah. Honestly, that's why I want a subsurface line route first, because the possibility of having the S-Dock along the Jubilee line, should that route be created in the future, that would be nice. The possibility is greater. The 101 has wheel slip issues. Oh, we figured that out on the first stream of the 101. The Jubilee got to be with the Metropolitan so you could get the Express Local. It doesn't really need to. You could just add the Metropolitan line services in as AI services, or you could just make them playable, depending on if the player has the Metropolitan line route or a subsurface line route. If Xenos dies, it wasn't suicide. It was DTG. Oh, we've always known this. We've always known this. They're against me. We know that DTG is against me in every way possible. Every way possible. They don't like me. It's messed up. Just wanted to be friends. Now I gotta pay attention to these signals. Acknowledge you. The next one is red. I'd like the district for TSW2 a 2017.
Zugbeeinflussung.
A 2017 version with S stock, maybe a 2016 with an S and D stock. Ooh. And 2014 with SCD and pre-2014 with C and D. That's a lot of time. That's a lot of times. I'll tell you that. But it will be nice to see all of those times in the game. Sorry, I'm really trying to pay attention to the signal, and it's very difficult to talk and pay attention at the same time.
Zugbeeinflussung.
I see you, 500 Hertz.
Türfreigabe. 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 Zugbeeinflussung.
Don't stop. Keep going. There we go. They're playing games with me. Whoever did the physics for the 101 and for DTG, they did a bad job. Yes, they did. Damn it. Who was it that asked for me to drive the 101? Who asked for this? Come on, bro, you almost there. The little engine that could. Putting down the controller. That would be you. Disappointed in you. Life is a pleb. I'm disappointed in you. You knew this would happen. You set me up. Look at this. The train ain't even moving. I'm stuck on rails. What it's supposed to be driving on. And whoever made the physics for the 101 did a bad job. You are completely right. I want to talk to them personally. Jesus. Can't even get past the Hamburg S-Bahn tracks. Jesus. It wasn't me. DTG did it. That is true. They did do it. That's not just a quote. They did do it. I'm surprised DTG got the PCB on this route wrong. We just gonna operate slowly now. I'm not messing with the PCB no more. Done this route wrong, considering the fact that they made many German routes. Well, they did say that the people who reviewed it basically weren't qualified and experienced with PCB. So now they have to have a qualification factor for German routes for people who actually know how PCB works. Oh, look at that! Another adverse signal. Even just one with the S stock and the C and the D would be nice. Yeah, the C stock is one of my favorite London Underground rolling stock. Even if it is currently retired, I used to love seeing it when watching Road of Subways 3 videos, and I've just recently learned that the D stock was apparently in that game. Never really noticed it. With the district line. Nope, slow down. With the district line, you could drive between the Hammersmith City between Barking and Aldgate East, and circle between Edgware Road and Aldgate if they bother putting in. Oh, I think they definitely would put it in as AI services or other tropical services, like what they did with the MBTA, adding the other AI services for Amtrak and MBTA. We're gonna acknowledge this signal, then it's gonna give us a red aspect for the next signal, and I bet you before we hit the next signal, it's gonna stop my train dead in its tracks. Is there something wrong with the train? Yes, there's something wrong with the train. It is being a very, very bad person. Very, very bad. Did you see him some Metro on Steam? Yeah. Um, um, I definitely got to check it out more after this stream because I've just heard of it and I haven't really like researched it a whole bunch. I definitely want to check it out more because I think the game has some serious potential to maybe not rival TSW, but give players who want more commuter and metro routes what they want, you know? Does this train get layered on a Hamburg? Yep. If you have the DVBR 101 DLC for Hauptstrecke Rhein-Ruhr, you will get it layered onto Hamburg Lubeck. Your favorite is the A stock? It's nice.
Sifa.
I like the A stock. Then it used to run on the East London line, or one of those London Overground lines. Finally, we're approaching Hamburg. Watch there be a red signal coming around this curve. Oh, not red. How surprising. I'm afraid of what the PCB system is about to do to me. So I assume we acknowledge this one.
Zugbeeinflussung.
Not. The stock was great. It was able to run for 50 years, which is great. Yeah, 50 years running strong until the S stock, the S8 stock replaced it. Those trains weren't bad. I really like the older rolling stock, specifically the AC and D stock for the London Underground. Some very nice rolling stock. Found those interesting. Is there a way to get from Boston North Station to South Station in real life? Via train, possibly, but I think the reasonable way. Oh, I think the red line, the red subway line goes there.
Sifa.
Let's see. A whole bunch of red, well, yellow signals here. Now I'm not sure if I'm supposed to acknowledge or not. A stock has both electric brakes and Westinghouse brakes. That being said, Westinghouse does not belong on subway cars. Oh, we learned that from the R60, was that the R68A? We hate those. With a passion. This is why no one likes the B line no more. The S stock is also great with its air conditioning and more. Yeah,
SIFA,
I'm surprised that
SIFA.
the S stock is the only London Underground rolling stock with air conditioning. I remember reading that um, the reason the deep level lines don't have air conditioning, it's something to
Hörfreigabe,
do with the, I don't
Hörfreigabe,
know what they're trying to tell me.
Hörfreigabe. Zugbeeinflussung.
I believe it's something with the power constraints or something like that. But I was very surprised to find that out. I like the open gangway cars though on the S stock. They're real nice. The S stock's design is very sleek. It's one of my favorite trains. One of my favorite subway trains, at least.
Zugbeeinflussung.
Stop, 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 stop. Train, stop. Your brakes are horrible. See, we did it. No issues. Absolutely nothing happened that whole time. Look, we did it perfectly. Just get away from this train. I don't trust it. Although that is a nice picture, so hold up. Okay, now I don't trust the train no more. DTG got to get a Japanese route. Yeah, that'd be nice to see in the game. A Japanese route? Yeah, definitely. That's why I suggested the Tokyo Metro. Oh, thought we had to close the doors. Apparently not. 62 See, gold medal. Nothing bad happened on this run. Nothing bad at all. Gold medal. The gold medal proves it. Nothing bad happened. Perfect. Perfect run. I shall never play this route again. New tube for London will make it happen for deep level. First thing on the Bakerloo, then the Piccadilly. Nah, it's the Piccadilly first. The Piccadilly, which is honestly in my eyes, it's stupid considering that the Bakerloo line has older cars than the Piccadilly, yet the Piccadilly line is getting the newer cars first. Never made sense to me. What route would y'all like to see next? We're not doing any other German routes. That's already out of the equation. Please do not select any more because I'm not going to be able to acknowledge PZB. I bet all of you is going to select German routes now. One of my local lines, LIRR, Hempstead to Atlantic. We got two for LIRR already. One of my local lines is the Metropolitan line, so I'm happy I can go down the road and see it done. Yeah, the Metropolitan line is one of my favorite tube lines. We've already done Southeastern High Speed. We did 465 from Gravesend to Faversham. Um, but the Metropolitan line is one of my favorite lines. I love all of the subsurface lines. They're real nice. I feel like DTG doesn't care for American passenger routes. Well, they have made a very accurate um, new NEC route. So it seems like they're finally getting back into making American passenger, although we will have to see what else they do in the future. LIRR, we got three for LIRR. Okay. What rolling stock would you like to see on LIRR? M7 or I don't have LGV. M7 or M3? And from where to where? Hempstead to Atlantic Terminal. Ah, DTG is so dumb for not adding the Acela. Uh, honestly, so as a business decision, it was smarter to not add the Acela because think of how many people is gonna now buy the Route Loco DLC. So as a business decision, it's good. From a fan's perspective, and who knows, it might have been difficult to get the Acela in the game. They did say that Amtrak was very technical with what they wanted DTG to do. Hello, Jonah Cantro. How you doing? So we have M3. All right. M3 Heavy Rain. Got it. LIRR M3. Let's do Hempstead to Atlantic Terminal. Six car. Oh, the M7. The M7 does have sound issues though. I'm not sure if y'all will want to hear those sound issues with the M7. M7, M3. We'll sit here for another minute, see if anyone else wants to like even it out or whatever. M7 has that pitch, it's annoying. Yeah, the M7, the propulsion is different from how it sounds in real life. M9 wouldn't be a hard DLC to make. That's what you think. The creating locos are very, very difficult for DTG. We're gonna go with the M3. I forgot how to select locals apparently. Someone said heavy rain, so let's get summertime. Let's get a little bit of wind too. Okay, so let's see. You don't like the M3's front? Yeah. Oh, it is an older car. So it has a different front to others that you might see in the Long Island Railroad's fleet. I would play the M7 more, but DTG didn't even fix the audio issues that they were supposed to fix. Oh no, they fixed them and then messed more things up. That's what happened. They fixed the problems that we told them to fix, right? And then messed up the audio completely, which made the problems that we told them to fix worse and created new problems. But it's not really too much of a big deal. I didn't really like LRRR route too much. Anyways, the way they created it at least. Um, really wish they got the M7 propulsion right. Fiorella even sent inaccurate sounds, but they used the New Jersey Transit Aero 3 sound. Why? I don't know. When it comes down to sound with DTG, it's very questionable, and when I hear it on certain routes, it upsets me sometimes. Like so easy, yet y'all make it difficult. And I know it's maybe it's not as easy as it seems, but sometimes it's like, wow, y'all really messed up on something that y'all could have done so well, so easily. All right, let's see. Master key, doors, charge the brakes. I'm gonna turn down the volume just a little bit more since it still seems like it's drowning me out a bit. There we go. Let's see. Lights, marker lights. I don't remember where everything is. ATC signal. Here we go. All right, open that. Run to the back of the train. Inaccurate. Inaccurate again. Oh, look at that. Inaccurate. Inaccurate. Not surprising. M3 is much harder to drive in the rain and in the snow. Oh, then this is going to be fun. Let's see how bad the wheel slip is on these units. We are going to be a bit late, but we can make up that time pretty easily, hopefully. If I remember correct, if I recall correctly, it's pretty easy to make up time on this route. Uh, stand clear. Uh, hello. Lights dim. Notch 2. Windshield wipers. Somewhere here. There we go. I would like to see DTG get bought by Rivet. Oh, that would never happen. DTG is a much larger company, so much larger than Rivet, and Rivet is basically a company that a whole bunch of maybe DTG employees, I guess you would say, basically joined together to make Rivet. Uh, I don't think Rivet will ever be buying DTG. What's wrong with the PIS screens? Everything, everything. Adam and his team with the preserved collection, when it came down to this route, they failed massively on the PIS screens, massively. And then they went ahead and used these same screens on the MBTA route. Although Matt did give a good reason for that, but they're completely wrong. I sent in sounds and info for Boston Sprinter. They used my info, but not the sounds. It's pretty accurate though. The sounds, I really do like the sounds on Boston Sprinter. I think they're nicer than some of the sounds we've seen on other routes. What is your name? Mystic Xenos, obviously. Let's stop here. Still got it. Alright, let's take a... Oh, forgot. There we go. Forgot I had to have the brakes on a higher setting. Alright, let's take a look at what's wrong with this, right? First of all, let's see. Hmm. Well, this right here is wrong. The way it shows the styles. The dot matrix altogether is wrong. I would need to have the real one in front of my face to be able to see it and tell you exactly what is wrong about it. I haven't looked at these in so long. I believe this right here, the first and second thing, the time, the time. There we go. The time. It uses 24-hour time instead of 12-hour time. That's one of the things. Other than that, I don't remember. Maybe someone else who's more familiar with LIRR can tell me, but I do remember seeing a whole thread uh, noting exactly what's incorrect about it. The writing in general, all the information is wrong. There we go. Thank you. Uh, I wish they would label stopping services versus express ones. I wish that as well. That's one thing. Well, then again, we do have a timetable app, most sort of timetable app, online. Let me see if I can find it actually for all of you. It's sim timetables .heroquap.com. I'll leave a link in the live stream chat. But basically, it tells you all of the timetables for every TSW route in game. Um, it's real cool. I use it sometimes when I want to go drive certain services, and for my passenger rides one, I use it to see what trains I could catch when transferring and all of that. It's really useful. Let's see. The whole PIS system in TSW2 LIRR is incorrect. Yeah, they did it well with other routes like Bakerloo, Southeastern. I'm not sure if Cathcart has it too, but when it came down to LIRR, they just failed on it. Yeah, because there's almost no videos of PIS screens on YouTube, and yeah, that's unfortunate. But sometimes you can catch glimpses from PIS screens in uh, regular videos like rail fanning and stuff. Or you can just ask the community to send in videos of the PIS screens. My Train Simulator mod is actually on Audio Shack, so I really should have sent my sounds down. One time I was playing as a passenger at a Bakerloo Line and said next train was in 52 minutes. I just left. Yeah, I've experienced that before too, and it's because the Bakerloo Line's timetable isn't fully accurate. It doesn't include the 400, 500 or so services that's supposed to be in there, and that's the dispatcher issues that Matt has mentioned. The dispatcher isn't fully upgraded to handle that many services, and when they try and run that, trains get stuck behind each other. There's a whole bunch of delays, and while delays are nice, those types of delays that you would be experiencing, you wouldn't be moving anywhere at all, and it wouldn't be a fun experience for all of you. So it's understandable why we don't have the full timetable, but it would be nice to see some more services. The writing is a different color. Yeah, I believe so. Are you from Germany? Nope, New York City in America. They had the accurate artwork for the LIRR PIS, but didn't have enough time to implement it. Well, you see, I would say they could have taken more time, but I do know how things are on a certain schedule. But honestly, I would have preferred to have no PIS and have, well, yeah, just have no PIS, than to make the inaccurate PIS and then have all of the what's it called? Have all of the backlash the community gave them. Console? Yep, PS4. As you can see, the X button. That's why Matt asked people to take videos of the PIS screens from Boston Printer, which is a good idea, so they can go back to it in the future and actually recreate those PIS screens for the route. And I've seen some of them. I'd like the PIS screens. I've made my own rendition of them. I posted in my Discord server for a project I'm working on, Minecraft City Project, like a PIS screen for the subway system in that one. Alright, let's up our speed. Do you have a kid? No. Do you think the Cal mod electric program for Caltrain will get added to the game? No. I highly doubt it. It would be nice to see. Highly doubt it though. They would have to remodel that whole section of track for the overhead wires, and then make the whole new train with the FLIRR 3, I think it is. And they wouldn't want to do all that. I missed the. What are you talking about now? Well, we're on the LIRR route, operating the M3 to Atlantic Terminal from Hempstead. Right now I'm just still answering regular chat questions. Maybe in the future, since they're still testing and stuff. I doubt they'll add the Caltrain thing. They would have to do so much for that route. It would basically be like creating a whole new route. Now, maybe they would create a whole new route for that in the future, but I don't see it happening, honestly. Look at that. As I said, we made up our time. Departed maybe a minute late, and now we're a minute early. Door key. Okay. They always seem to say they never have enough time to fix the American routes properly as they're supposed to be presented to us on release, but seem to make sure they get everything right on the other routes. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but they just don't put a lot of time, it seems like, into all of the American routes. FYI, you have to do long, short, like this. I'm just blowing a horn on this one, honestly. I wasn't even trying to do the long, short horn, long thing. Is that mandatory for LIRR though? Because I've seen LIRR trains just do 2 short bursts when crossing a railroad crossing. Dovetail should actually model London Victoria on both Southeastern High Speed and East Coast Way. Well, they're already making London to Brighton. They aren't adding anything else to East Coast Way. And while it would be nice to see a connection, they aren't doing that. Southeastern High Speed, that's adding another maybe 50, 20, between 20 and 50 miles to that route, and I don't see them doing that in the future. Will you do an in-cab signaling guide for the Boston Sprinter route? I might do that with my train guide videos for the ACS 64, the F40PH, and all that. However, um, it is very difficult to learn the Access and ATC systems. Well, ATC is a bit easier. Access, while they're both semi-easy systems, the Access requires you to do a lot more in terms of slowing down and all that, and then making sure the back of your train is out of the speed limit zone before increasing your speed. While the Access just shows it jump up immediately. I wish Pacers were a thing in TSW. Aren't we getting Pacers or Sprinters with the Cornwall route? Do you agree that Peninsula Corridor was the last good American route? I would say Sandpatch Grade really was. Or Cane Creek had its parts where it was nice from what I've seen on the previous streams. Honestly, I didn't like Peninsula Corridor that much, and while I don't have it, I've seen videos of it, and a lot of it was just inaccurate. It's a lot of inaccuracy that comes down to when DTG creates American routes. Boston Sprinter is probably going to be the last good American route. That's unfortunate, but I wouldn't be surprised if it is. Dovetail's local route is southeastern in England, so it would cost a lot to model American routes. It's not that it costs more; it just takes more time for them to research. The cost really just goes into paying the employees and maybe getting licenses sometimes, but it doesn't change based on whether you're creating a German route for a UK route or if you're creating an American route. It just depends on how much research you have to do to get reference photos, reference videos to actually create the routes. Sandpatch grade sounds were improved but messed up just like Long Island Railroad. Yep. It's unfortunate. How much more they're moving in the right direction now, so it seems repulsed. Yeah, it seems like they are. It seems like they're moving in the right direction. I really hope they are fully moving in the right direction because with the last few routes, Southeastern, Cathcart, minus a Rosa line since they didn't create that. Clinchfield was a freight route. I don't really know too much about that. And Cane Creek wasn't made by them. It seems like they're moving in the right direction, but they need to keep it consistent. They can't just have, they can't just create a good route and then the next route horrible. Create a good route, next route horrible. It seems like they're doing that a lot with some of the routes they're making. Hey, Jonathan Gathro. How you doing? Still uneasy for getting the Boston route because DTG was lazy and didn't take the time for the rolling stock. What do you mean they didn't take the time? You mean like for the cab, for the passenger cars? The passenger cars are sort of incorrect, but I do think they took the time with the route, the rolling stock too. They clearly need help from a third party to make an actual good route. I do agree. Alright, now we're coming into my favorite part of the route. Haven't operated this in a long time. Getting the braking kind of wrong. they revealed on the Southeastern Preview stream that they get staff to ride the routes for some of them. So that may add time and effort. Well, if they're close to the routes, then yeah, they do get staff to ride the routes. But other than that, it's not like they could do that for American routes because their company is based in the UK. They can't travel to the US to get reference for a route to travel back. That's more cost getting added onto the project. They messed up the consist. Business class should be at the rear. Ah, old contest, the constants from like 2010. I would have said, well, maybe the route's based in 2010, but the ACS 64 came out in what 2014, 2012. Well, they can't get everything right, but that's unfortunate. But we get LIRR PIS and onboards. I'll read that after I stop. Come on to right here. Let's get a nice outside look. That's nice. Let's see. We hope we get LIRR PIS and train onboard station announcements, clocks. Oh, like in-train PIS on the sides of the train. I can't show you now because we don't have an M7, but I know what you're talking about since the M7 has PIS screens on the exterior of the train. Let's see. The rolling stock isn't correct for MBTA. There should be multi-level cars. Not a huge problem. I'm trying my best to help them. They at least fixed what I told my fellow beta tester to tell them. Well, that's good. At least they're trying to fix some of the things that they got wrong. I think they'll make a new LIRR route. I doubt it'll come anytime soon, but it's definitely a possibility. Paying $30 for a half-baked route is crazy. I agree. I definitely agree. Unfortunately, a lot of routes in the game are half-baked. Just to name one, a roast line. Just to name a couple more. Hamburg to Lubeck. LIRR Austin. Rapid transit. This. It's sad, but a lot of the routes in the game seem like a lot of not enough care was placed into them. Interior lights on the M3 are way too bright compared to reality. Well, the LIRR, the MTA probably asked for that. Honestly, certain operators ask for their trains to be represented in a certain way. Let's see, the M3s in real life, they're in horrible condition. Well, they were. I'm not sure if they still run on LIRR anymore. I know the M3As still run on Metro North, but they were in a horrible condition with the seats ripping apart. The lights were all dim. They were dirty and all that. But then you look at them in the game, you think, wow, these are pretty well maintained. When in reality, they aren't. It's because the train operator in real life asks for their trains to be represented a certain way in the game. So the MTA probably asked for it to be represented with the bright lights, no ripped seating, uh, looking all clean and all that. It's a rule DTG has to follow when the operating company requests it. Didn't they say they would make the lights turn off at the third rail dead spot? That never happened. That happens on the Bakerloo Line actually. The lights turn off on the Bakerloo Line. I've noticed that while going as a passenger on the Bakerloo Line in the game. I've noticed the lights turning off when switching tracks, going over points and all that. So yeah. I live on the Montauk branch of Ubers. Cool. One thing, let's see, is TSW. St. Pancras to Paris. A Eurostar route. I've made a suggestion for a Eurostar route. I don't see it happening anytime in the near future. They have to be able to make longer routes with the same level of detail as they currently have. But I would love to see it. Some trains should have to stop at Hillside Support Facility for regular MTA staff change. I do it sometimes. Well, when I used to operate on this route, I used to stop sometimes at Hillside. Like, once in a blue, I would stop at Hillside, like if there was an MTA employee that needs to let off the train, you know? On the Bakerloo it does. They should have done that for Boston Sprinter since they have dead spots too. You have to open MCB in those sections. Oh. Well, that would have been a nice, cool thing to add to the route, but it would have probably, I feel like they didn't do it. Maybe it would have been too confusing for newcomers to the game. Not really sure. Here we go, approaching Hollis. Oh, trophy. M3, Long Island Legend. Funny. Don't even play this route a lot, and I'm getting trophies for it. I bet they would make another NEC Amtrak route after Boston Sprinter. It depends on what they want to do. There's a lot of things they can do, and you would think they would do, but they end up never doing. Those people who thought they would make another route for the London Underground, and they still haven't yet. There's a lot of stuff that we feel like they're gonna do, but they never do. Congrats on 2K. Really appreciate it. Thanks. It's nice to have that 2000 number next to my channel name. Kind of wish the DLC for the past NEC was added to the current NEC route. The cab cars for Amtrak and the shunter. Not possible. The cab cars aren't used on that part of the NEC. Half the route is pretty much in the tunnel. You just got to model the French countryside and model Ebbsfleet at the Eurostar platforms. You also got to model Ashford International. You also got to model the approach to Paris and a whole bunch of other stuff. That's 200 kilometers just because it's the French countryside. You still have things in the countryside you have to model. Towns, viaducts, bridges. It's a lot of stuff. It's not just one or two things that they would need to model. And then just a whole bunch of track in between. Ah, so this is realistic. These don't work here. I like that. I've always had a problem with the Bakerloo Line changing ends coming out of the Queens Park depot. Really? Haven't had an issue with that before. What about the whole catenary switch in the LGV route? Let's not talk about that. That confuses even me. And I'm the type of person to operate every train without the HUD. You gotta put up the pantograph and then turn the button and press another button and flip a switch and then open a cab compartment, couple the train while it's moving, manually pull out the pantograph. There's a whole bunch of stuff. Eurostar doesn't stop at Ashford International. Doesn't matter, they still have to mount the platforms at Ashford International. Southeastern high-speed trains diverge and stop at Ashford International. They will still need to model Ashford International because Eurostar passes by there. Imagine if the next... I'm not paying attention to speed limits well. Imagine if the next subway type route would be an unexpected one. It's highly expected. There's only two they could make without the community going into some type of outrage type mode. It's either another London Underground route or New York City subway. Although I would like a nice surprise. I'll take the Glasgow subway. Paris Metro. Berlin U-Bahn. Eurostar does stop at Ashford International. Honestly, I personally thought it skipped Ashford International, but I'm still thinking you have to model the platforms there. Frankfurt U-Bahn, I would love to see it in the game. That is a tram type route though, but that would be nice. Turning the MCB on and off shouldn't be a huge problem. I'll just simulate because they do have dead section signs on the route. Definitely gonna have to check that out. Maybe on the first stream of the route. I thought I saw a news article on why Eurostar can't stop at Ashford. I don't think it's stopping at Ashford right now. Oh, I think it skips Ebbsfleet and Ashford right now. Like during the pandemic, it's been skipping those stations, I believe. I did read something like that. Or maybe that's only Ebbsfleet. Not completely sure. One thing I've always tried to figure out is where is the stop sign in this platform? I'm not sure if Jamaica has car marker signs in real life, but I've always wondered where are they. Funny, I'm riding Amtrak to New York Penn like right after the route comes out. I can record sounds from my own sound mods, I guess. That would be nice to get the locals sounding perfect. Didn't know this was an express service. Apparently, we're going straight to Atlantic. Shouldn't we see the C3 and DE30AC trains in Jamaica and other places such as Mineola? We should. Those trains aren't included though. And honestly, if they do make another LIRR route, they could layer these two trains, the M3 and the M7, with upgraded sound, PIS screens and all that, and maybe access working on the trains with this display right here, because this display works in real life. Um, and include the DE30AC, the M30AC, and maybe the M9 cars. Mostly the services to Disneyland Paris stops at Epsley. Ah. Oh, we can increase speed. Let's get some more outside shots. As much as I don't really like the sound of these trains, I will admit they did model the exterior real nice, despite it not having any weathering or anything. Now, one thing that most of you who have been here for a long time know is I always complain about track noise, and that is one of the only times we will hear it, so enjoy it. We just passed by it. If you didn't hear it, that's exactly what I complain about. I'm type pissed they didn't include any of the other MBTA fleet. Well, you gotta understand, they do have to. It takes a long time to model the trains. It's not just like a snap of the fingers. It's more than just you take a train and boom, you put it in the game. There's more that goes into it. So, and then they're creating 3 routes at the same time. So, adding more MBTA and or Amtrak rolling stock to the route, it would have made the routes take too much longer. Would you like to see the Minneapolis Metro Blue Line in the game? I don't know much about the Minneapolis Metro. They recycled the class 166 sounds? What do you mean? For what, the M3? Honestly, the M3 sounds remind me a bit of the Bakerloo Line. The MBTA cab car reminds me of the Amtrak cab car? Really? Well, I mean, the controls certainly look similar. Like the throttle and the brake, but I'm not sure about anything else. In this stream, can you do St. Pancras to Faversham or St. Pancras to Gillingham? We've already done Southeastern High Speed. I won't be doing it again on this stream. Plus, that'll be another thing to have to worry about going through the tunnel to St. Pancras with the signaling system. I thought the Class 66 wasn't on Southeastern. It is. Maybe 1 or 2 services. It runs freight. Top 10 commuter routes in the USA. This doesn't go in any order. What I'm about to name doesn't go in any order for me, but I would say the Metro North New Haven line with the Amtrak NEC, like part of it. You said commuter route. So we're gonna be going by commuter rail. So Bright Line, maybe in Florida. Chicago's Metro, the whole thing. Can't really name 10. honestly. Should be much louder hearing the track noise over each track joint going through the tunnel, even on the inside. I say this all the time. At least they fixed that a bit in the Boston Sprinter route, because I've definitely heard track noise on those MBTA cars, and I think on the Amtrak cars as well. Although I'm not really too sure about that. Fun fact: the ACS 64 flange sounds were used on the Bakerloo Line and M3 controller sounds. Most button sounds in every DLC is from the ACS 64. Well, I don't really know how I feel about that. The button sounds, doesn't bother me too much. But the flange sounds, certain trains sound different on when going around curves and stuff like that. And honestly, I feel like the flange should be different for each route. Uh, One thing that I didn't like was the Class 314's flange sounds were way too prominent and loud. I feel like for that train they could have used maybe the 377 flange sounds. This is actually the busiest U.S. network of routes if you look it up. Yep, the LIRR, the biggest commuter rail system in the United States, with Jamaica being the busiest station, I believe. New Jersey Transit still uses the old New York Penn platforms. I haven't seen them. The Amtrak cars and MBTA cars have the same joint sounds. They could add SWR as a route starting from Waterloo for SW. I would love to see a Southwestern Railway route coming out of Waterloo, maybe running Waterloo to Portsmouth Harbor. They used Amsley flange sounds for the ACS 64 at Boston Sprinter, even though they have ACS 64 sounds. That's disappointing. Can you suggest VRE? What's VRE? And honestly, with route suggestions, I only suggest routes I'm personally interested in. I don't suggest just random routes. Like, I see a lot of comments. Can you suggest route X? Can you suggest route Y? I don't just suggest random routes. Virginia Railways Express. I'll have to check it out later on, but I can't guarantee that making a suggestion video if I'm not really too interested in it, or if I think many other people won't be too interested in it. Have you done the Bakerloo Line yet? Not in this stream. If you go rail fan on the Providence Line, you mostly get HSB 46 and bi-levels. Sometimes no lower level cab cars, bi-level cab cars. Sometimes you get F40. Well, maybe in the future they'll include the HSP. I sent in sounds. They use their own sounds. For example, I sent in fan sounds, which wasn't in the old NEC, but they use their own, which is a good thing, I guess. They're picky with sounds. It's good that they're picky with sounds. Oh god, we're overspeeding. It's good that they're picky with sounds, but they need to be picky with the right sounds. That's the thing. Recently went to Gillingham on the 395, and on the way back I caught a train bow livery. Is this rare? The train bow is very rare. There's only one. There's only one train bow. It is the 395012. There's 3 different liveries for the 395 in the game. You have the 395 all the other units, which is the regular Southeastern livery. You have 395012, which is Trainbow, and 395025, which is Back Medway. About a mile out from Atlantic Avenue. Do you hate rolling sounds or joints? Because I love joint sounds. Oh, I love the joint sounds. I'm always complaining that there isn't any. That's the thing. I love hearing the track clank sounds and the joint sounds of when it's going over points and stuff. And one thing that they get wrong with a lot of routes is there's a lot of these older railways have track joints. It's not just continuously grinded rail. Like this route right here, you would hear tons of track noise coming through this tunnel. Yet you barely hear any. You're about to hear some right now crossing over these points. Well, you barely heard any because we're in the tunnel, but there you go. Coming up to it right now. But you barely hear any track noise just going along the track. You don't even really hear it at points, which is sad. Wipers? Yeah, I turned it off. I believe there was a specific unit number in real life for the 10-year anniversary train. Yeah. Don't all the trains in the game have the 10-year anniversary besides the 012 and 025? I think all of them have the 10-year anniversary thing, which I don't have too much of a problem with, but would have been nice to see some variety. And now we have the worst part of the route. Okay. And now we do a bit of waiting. The Hornby Visitor Center livery and the train mask livery is 2395. Honestly, I would like the train mask livery. It's nice. I would call it cute, but y'all done created the cute little choo-choo meme, and I'm afraid of calling anything else cute. They don't even sound at the right time. They should start at the start of the point and then in the middle. Yeah. Well, we all know that when it comes down to sound, DTG isn't the best at it. That's something that should have been on the Bakerloo line. The track joint sounds. It desperately needs the track joint sounds. The Bakerloo, so much could have been done with that route in terms of sound, and they just didn't do anything with it. Honestly, track joint sounds is missing out on. It's missing out on announcements, which they've already explained, but still, the traction motor sounds are a little bit too loud. The wheel flange extremely loud and a little too prominent. And even the running sounds, you barely hear any. There should be a plain Javelin livery. Something I found funny is that there was a face mask livery over the coupler hatch. Yeah. Because the coupler hatch is like the train's mouth opening, basically. So it makes sense to have the mask there. Need some better joint sounds. The adorable little choo-choo. You see, this is why I don't mention anything with the choo-choo anymore. My own moderators is turning against me. I don't like this. I listen to the raw LIRR horn sound and I hear railroad crossings. It's real. Also found M3 interior horn sounds in the files, which was never used. Wow. What a surprise for TG. Traction motor sounds are super quiet. You can barely even hear the location of them. Well, on third rail power, the traction motor sounds are, you can actually hear them. On AC overhead power for the 395, you can barely hear them. And I don't know if that's real, if that's true to life or not, but I would have preferred to hear them a little bit more. On time. I like that. On time. Welcome to Atlantic Terminal. No. Inaccurate. Yet again, inaccurate. Good thing for you. I don't know what's that thing you're talking about is. In Train Simulator on Bryan Mainline, you can apparently hear the third rail if you listen close enough. You mean third rail sparks? It'd be cool to have in the game. Third rail and catenary sparks. Keep these doors open. I was patiently waiting for him to tap the bumping post. Oh, yeah, I used to do that. I used to let the train just roll all the way until it taps the bumping post. You know what? Why not? Eh, why not? Since you said it, might as well. See? Tapped it. Only real rail fans can get this type of picture. Okay, so that's enough of LIRR for this stream. Welcome to Atlantic Terminal. Transfer connection is available to the 2, 3, 4, 5, B, D, N, Q, and R trains. Connection is also available for other LIRR services. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the last stop on this train. Everyone, please leave the train. Thank you for riding with MTA Long Island Railroad. Um, what route would you like to see next? The next route will be the last one for tonight. So, choose Bakerloo, Cathcart, or any other route we haven't done besides the German ones. Why does TSW give you a basic controls tutorial every time you load a new route? I always wonder that. I've asked that when the Verosa line released, when Hamburg to Lubeck released. It's unnecessary, honestly. Bakerloo, I don't have Caltrain. Did I accidentally say Caltrain? I meant to say Cathcart. Bakerloo, Bakerloo, Southeastern High Speed. We did that earlier. Two for Bakerloo, one for Cathcart, one for GWE, three for Bakerloo. Oh, okay. I guess you want to see Bakerloo. Okay, Cathcart. Okay, so we have two for Cathcart, two for Bakerloo. Who's going to be the tiebreaker? Do the new Scottish route. Well, guess that was the tiebreaker. You don't have the Peninsular Corridor? What? I'm not interested in the route. Let's see. Cathcart. Okay, let's see how many there are for the different rounds. One, two, three. Now everybody's choosing Bakerloo. Jesus. One, two, three. I'm so confused. Which would y'all like, Bakerloo or Cathcart? Just re-put your answers down so I could count them properly. Cathcart, Bakerloo, Bakerloo, Cathcart. Two for Bakerloo, two for Cathcart. Two for Bakerloo, two for Cathcart, three for three for Bakerloo, four for Bakerloo. I'm gonna give it 10 more seconds. Bakerloo. Yep. Alright, so we have one, two, three, four, five. We have five for Bakerloo. One, two, three. Yeah. Alright. Day in Life. Queen's Park to Elephant and Castle. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do a run in the Bakerloo line first, and then we're gonna go to Cathcart. We're just gonna level it out like that. Uh, let's do a nice run from Elephant and Castle to Stonebridge. Do you have LGV? I might make. No, I don't have LGV. Avelia livery. We'll do Cathcart after this one. This one was originally supposed to be the last one, but I guess we'll do Cathcart after this since everyone's asking for Cathcart now. Okay, let's see. Open, cab light, cab temperature, fan speed, open, drop light interlock. Already late. Wow, look at that. Turn off both tail lights. Gauge light. Okay, brake test is good. Next stop is Lambeth North Snakeler. I think we've done everything correctly. Alright. What didn't we do? What is wrong? Oh. There we go. We are moving. haven't done the 72 stock in a little while, like actually driven it, so this might take a little bit of re-getting used to. Last time I did Bakerloo, I was operating the 38 stock on it. See, that's some nice echo from the tracks with a little bit of track noise that we were just hearing. Want to hear more of that going through the tunnel. Listen for ACS 64 flange and M3 controller sounds. Does sound similar to the M3. But this is the ACS 64 flange sounds? Really? I mean, I've never really taken a close look at the flange sounds of the ACS 64, so I don't really know. See, this is what I mean by it's too quiet on the Bakerloo line. You're only hearing wind noise, no running or track noise, which makes it seem unauthentic. Here we go, coming into Lambeth North. Do you stream every week or day? No. I actually haven't done a live stream in maybe a month or two. Um, I've dumbed down my live streams to when something important for TSW comes out, like a new route or a new loco, or big events like today, the 2,000 subscriber special. I decided to make a live stream. Next week, I will try and live stream the Boston Sprinter release, and if I can, I'll try and live stream the Rush Hour release, like the update. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to live stream the Rush Hour update, but I'll try. If I'm not able to live stream it, I might make a video on it. It's the same sounds as the TSW flanges. They reused those sounds for the BR1 something, though it was vice versa. The gap between the train and the platform at Waterloo and the Bakerloo Line is huge on TSW2. I'm pretty sure it's that way in real life. I remember um, seeing a picture of how it was compared to real life, and those gaps, a lot of the gaps with the London Underground, there's a reason why they have the iconic "Mind the Gap" announcement. Here we go, coming into Waterloo right here. We're gonna see the big gap. As we overspeed. Do you have any sound mods installed, like for East Coast Way and Bakerloo? No, I play on console, so I'm not able to install mods. Wow, that gap really is big. I'm not able to install mods or anything. Jesus. Um, so no, I don't have any sound mods installed. Would have been so nice if they had automated announcements for this game. And um, with this rolling stock, just in general, having automated announcements for the Bakerloo line, it would have made this route so much better, honestly. There was an NYC subway station that was closed because newer rolling stock had the hugest gap ever. It was the City Hall station on the number 6 line. It was closed in, I think, 1940 something. Uh, the newer rolling stock, specifically the ones with the center door, the middle door, when they started making the IRT cars have 3 doors, uh, the center door had a huge gap between the platform and the train, so they had to shut down the station because that was the new rolling stock, and it couldn't stop there. The station, they still use the station to turn around 6 trains once it gets to Brooklyn Bridge City Hall. So it goes from the southbound platform, goes around the loop, comes back on the northbound platform. Um, there was also another station, 2 more stations, honestly. You have South Ferry on the 1 line, which the old station they used to go through the South Ferry loop. Actually, both South Ferry stations on the 1 line and the old 5 line. Um, the inner loop they had to close it because the same situation with City Hall, and with the 1 line they closed that down because of well, they made a new South Ferry station. Um, the old South Ferry station they had to have gap filler extensions, so when the train stopped, the gap filler is extended uh, to connect with the doors. The other station is 14th Street Union Square, which is still open on the 6 line, the 4, 5, and 6 line. Um, the platforms that I'm talking about, at least. Um, the gap is so large for the express trains that gap fillers need to extend out to connect with them, and they still have that station open to this day. And there's a special thing when the doors close on the train and the train starts moving, the operator can't like fully accelerate out the station until this one red light outside the platform turns white, showing that the gap filler has fully gone back into the platform, allowing them to fully accelerate out the station. Other than that, we don't have any stations that have massively huge gaps to where it needs gap fillers or it was shut down. Hopefully, I see the R160 Siemens when I go back to New York. That's the closest thing we get to the singing Japanese train. I do love the propulsion of the R160B. It's really nice. It's always a surprise when I'm waiting for a line that runs R160s, and I think it's an R160A coming into the platform, and it's really R160B. You get to hear the nice traction motor sound. Some of my favorite traction motor sounds for the New York City subway. And we didn't overrun it. Yeah, all the doors are still on the platform. We're good. The Siemens have been swapped around. Yeah, I believe they run on the E, F. Honestly, they run on every line that runs R160s currently. They're all based out of Jamaica Yard. Seen them on the F. Recently, I've seen them on the F, seen them on the R, seen them on the E. Not sure about the N or the W. They can't run on the on the M line. I could sworn the M line uses R160A-1s, the 4-car units. They're only made by Alstom. Will they be at Penn Station? On the E line, you have a possibility of catching them at Penn Station. Uh, like when you go into New York City subway, the E, you have a possibility of catching them there, and at 34th Street Bryant Park, um, and 34th Street Bryant Park. Wow, 34th Street Herald Square. I mean, I like the Mitsubishi sounds on the R143. The Kawasaki sounds, you mean? Because I know the 143s were made by Kawasaki with the 142As. Baker Street on the Metropolitan line has a gap that is genuinely terrifying. Really? I'm gonna need to check that out later. Instead of St. Pancras to Paris, they could do Ashford to Cali or Paris. But see, it's always better to have both end stations, right? You wouldn't want to do because think about it like this: HS1 is the main part of it. The HS1 in the UK is really the main selling point for the route, honestly. You wouldn't want to just have it from Ashford to Paris. You're missing out on the whole HS1 portion with Southeastern, which is what a lot of people want to see. Hello, USA and UK trains, USA and UK trains. I've never noticed that your name is repeated twice. They have Bombardier propulsion, I think. Not sure. Mitsubishi propulsion. Are you sure about that? They all have the same Bombardier motor. Yeah, I know they were uh, constructed by Kawasaki. They have the Bombardier motors in the 142A, 143, and 188s. The 142s were constructed by Bombardier, and they have Alstom motors, same as the 160s, except those were constructed fully by Alstom with the help of Kawasaki. Bombardier mid-track motors, I believe. No, well, maybe on the R179. I'm not too sure about the motors besides the 142A and 188s and 143s. Other than that, you play with motion blur on or off. Honestly, sometimes I forget to turn it off. I would rather have it off. Right now it's on. I would rather have it off though. But the annoying part is it resets all the time when you leave the game, which is why I'm usually forgetting to turn it back off. Which is better, 188 or 142A? I'm always have a soft spot in my heart for the 142A since I grew up on the 6 line when those used to run. But the 188 is objectively better. It does everything better than the 142A. It's basically a 142A with upgrades. Honestly, I would prefer the 188s, but the 142As again have a soft spot in my heart. The 211s have the 160B motors. Yeah, I noticed that. With the same, like the loud boom sound when the doors close, the clink, whatever you, the click sound. There we go. What's your favorite door sound in TSW? Mine is the 395 door sound. I've never been asked this question. Door sound. BR423. The 425 and the 423. I like the door sounds on those. Put your hands up if you missed the 142A on the 6. Both my hands are up, and this is illegal because I'm not operating the train the right way. I missed the 142A on the 6, honestly. Uh, it's sad that they had to be replaced by the 62As. Uh, but I understand why, to give the 7 train the newer rolling stock for CBTC and ATO. But I really do miss the 142As on the 6. Though that was my childhood. It's still nice to see them sometimes on the 4 line. And sometimes when I'm on the 7 line, I look at the car numbers and I'm like, you used to be on the 6. Yours is the 377. 377 has a nice door sound, although I feel like that door sound is used with a lot of trains in the UK, honestly. It gets repetitive after a while. Sad no cruise control in the ACS 64 because they have cruise control in real life. Yeah, I hear, but I hear it's in a whole bunch of menus and stuff. But I also hear it's only in like with the press of 2 buttons, you can get to the cruise control thing. It would have been nice to have that because I would definitely be using cruise control. Um, when the route comes out, I would definitely use cruise control on some portions of the line, but unfortunately, they don't have those. They don't have it on those trains. Now, back to the Boston Sprinter for a sec. They messed up with the wiper idle positions on both the F40 and ACX. It's important because it's changed to not block the view of the track. Oh, honestly, I didn't notice much of an issue with the idle positions. But what's the train where the wiper gets on my nerves? I think it's the ICE maybe, where it's like the wiper is just in my face, getting on my nerves the whole time. Actually, I'm a trainee for MTA New York City Subway. Learning to stop the train, please. Thank you. To drive the 142A44 train. Ah. Do you like the 142A? Have you actually gone behind the controls yet? I hear it's more difficult to operate than the regular 142s or something like that. I didn't actually believe that. Sounds weird, given that they are very similar. I said the two buttons thing in the chat. I have the menu for the ACX 64, and it's only two buttons. So now I don't see why they couldn't really add it then. You have? Is it more difficult to operate than the 142 then, or are you not sure about that? You like operating it? I've seen the controls for the 62, and it's not too hard. Yeah, I know the controls for the 62 and the 62A, those seem pretty simple to get behind. Um, but the 142s I hear, the 142 to the 142As I hear, is kind of different, and one is more difficult than the other. Also, I love how we keep overrunning the stations by just a little bit, but the doors are still in the platforms. I start full operation in November, so I just have to learn 142A by then. Not notch one handle. What do you mean not notch one handle? I learned the speed controls like acceleration and deceleration. Nice. Um, with the 142A, you can choose like how fast you're accelerating, right? Because I've seen the controls for 142A and it kind of confused me when looking at the master controller, because it says maximum brake, neutral, minimum, maximum acceleration, minimum acceleration. I was looking at that, I was like, wait, so you can only choose minimum or maximum acceleration? I felt kind of stupid when I thought about it, and I was like, wait, in between has to be like 60% or something like that. You can change it. Ah, okay. Good to know. Always wanted to operate a 142A, and when I first seen him on the 6, there's definitely a train behind that wall. When I first seen him on the 6, I've always wanted to operate one. Maybe in the future. It's like the 160 throttle, yeah. I would like to ask a question. Go ahead. So dark. Warwick Avenue. Oh, we're about to come out the tunnel. What line, when I become a full driver, should I drive for the BMT? Well, if you're learning the R142A, that's the IRT. Wouldn't you have to go through a whole? Oh, if I don't want to do the IRT, I see. For the BMT, um, you don't want anything in the IND or just the BMT lines. Kind of like the F. That's the IND. So if because you have the two divisions, the A and the B divisions. The A division will be all of the numbered lines in the 42nd Street Shuttle. The IND and BMT is the um, B division. What is the BMT and IRT? All right, those are the original companies in the subway. So the IRT would be all of the numbered lines in the 42nd Street Shuttle. The IND and BMT would be all of the other lettered lines, to put it simply. Those are the original companies who built those lines and operated those lines before they were unified into what we call now as the MTA, New York City Subway. But the J and Z, you would deal with a lot of signal trouble. I'll tell you that. The B, I hear the rolling stock on that, specifically the R68As, horrible. The rolling stock, the brakes on those, the Westinghouse brakes, like on this train, the Westinghouse brakes are horrible. Um, Luckily, I'm not using them right now. I would suggest the D train's already out of the equation. Pause. Um, the F is nice. The F, the, uh, the F really is a nice line. Maybe the A, but then you have to deal with the R179. The F. I would go with the F. I would go with the F or maybe the N because the R46s are nice to drive. Um, but honestly, I would recommend just sticking with the IRT. It would be an easier operating experience for you with the IRT, with the because they have automatic train signaling, where you won't have to deal with the punch boxes and any of that. If you choose any IRT, then it will be the 1 and 3. Oh, so you would want to operate the 62As. It's a nice choice. For me, IRT, it would be the 1, 4, or 6 for me. 1, 4, 6, or 7. Hello, says2147 underscore alt. Any advice for streaming? Honestly, just trying to engage with chat, be confident. That's about it. Don't really have any other pieces of advice.